Hey folks, it's Maxwell here and welcome to a brand new TW9 video with 21st Century Wrestling, the best of British wrestling. I'm trying my best to make this as good as possible, but unfortunately the audio decided not to record at the right time, so I'm having to redub over it. So hopefully, as I say, we're on the road to our next pay-per-view and we can really carry on I wouldn't say the great momentum, but you know that way we're I mean momentum more in the sense of like we know what the characters are, we know kind of what our future is going to be here at 21st Century Wrestling, and just really put ourselves in a good position to, once we get the opportunity, to regain popularity and really kick on and have a good future. But anyway, we're straight in with the first angle of the show. We start the show with the main man of the C-verse. It's Tommy Cornell, who looks to address what happened at World War. He looks a little bit sad and he looks a little bit disappointed. TC goes on to say, it's been over a week now and I've had time to digest what took place at World War. For those who don't know, a young man I saw a world of potential in decided to turn his back and join up with my cousin in the House of Business. So obviously he's referring to, in this instance, his cousin Edward Cornell, the leader of the House of Business, and his young protege, of course, in the form of Reese Pendragon. Overall, this segment did score an 83, and we can see what he carries on and says. All you needed, Reese, was patience, was with time. Your skill set would have evolved, and it would take you to great levels under my guidance. But your mind was corrupted by Edward, and he's placed you as a pawn in our battle. I will get my hands on Edward in a one-on-one match at one point, but Reese, you must be taught a lesson. It's booked, it's confirmed, it's official. At 21st Century Wrestling head-to-head, you'll be going head-to-head with me. So we basically confirm here we are going to see straight in there Tommy Cornell versus Reese Pendragon at the next pay-per-view, and I really hope it's one that we can really help start pushing like the technical skill set of Reese Pendragon, while at the same time hopefully helping with his overness. Storyline has advanced, it's gained heat. Tommy doing some masterful improvising interactions with the crowd. The crowd heat was simmering, but overall, as I say, when we have the type of product we have with tight on the promos, an 83 is absolutely massive for us here as well. Also worth noting, 8,339 fans at the Euston Road. This was the first one I'd done with the patch that boosted attendances. Straight in the next match, which had Reese Pendragon in action, and about it didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. Reese Pendragon defeated Vinny Vigilante in 9:09 with the Pendragon's Triangle. The match was designed so they could go out and try and steal the show. At 30 for the wrestling, 25 overall, and unfortunately 2 pre-show workers in the fans' eyes. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to witness one of the most exciting prospects to ever grace the British wrestling scene. I am Forrest Charmer, and watch me go out and help and beat this ugly jobber and rip his mask off. So he will be in action against the Welsh Dragon, a 46 promo, and he clearly enjoyed going off script and performing well. Somebody I've got a lot of faith in to develop well. Their bout had a decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling, as Forrest Charmer defeated Welsh Dragon in 8:27 with the Lucky Charm. Sadly, again, they believe it was 2 pre-show workers, a 31 overall. Forrest also off his game. As I say, he's not the greatest technically at the moment, but with the high charisma stat, it's definitely someone we need to invest in, and hopefully they can continue to develop. Next up, we just have a quick short package for El Demonisco, another hype one, and a 6. Nothing spectacular, does the job. Next up, we're about had fantastic heat and decent wrestling. Jack Bruce took on Antithesis, I'll get it right at one point, in 8:28 with the New York Minute. Actually, a very good crowd rating there with a 76, but overall the segment just drew a 53. Jack Bruce was only able to produce a 67 in terms of his in-ring stuff, but I felt like it was a good chance to give him some more momentum, and his opponent, I don't really know what we're doing with, truthfully. After the match, he picks up the win, and the crowd are elated. They're giving him a proper cheer up the ramp before he's ambushed by a figure from behind. He continues to beat him down before he lowers his hood, and it's revealed to be Bedlam. Bedlam then puts in his signature manoeuvre, the Mind Straggler submission hold, and he renders Jack Bruce out cold and unconscious. A very strong segment here which got an 80 as we look to start to build a programme between Bedlam and Jack Bruce. So delighted with that, getting such a good rating. Will that transition to a good matchup? Time will tell, I suppose. But a good opportunity here of a young up and coming talent against someone that's extremely over. Let's see what we have next, if I ever decide that next segment. There we go. So this was the debuting Steph Blake. So this was to give us more depth in the women's division. My name is Steph Blake and I'm new here in 21st Century Wrestling. Over 20 years ago, when the British scene wasn't so popular, I took a risk and I travelled to America. With that risk, I saw a 20-year career over in the States, but now, with 21st Century Wrestling's, it's time to come home. Time to show the world I'm one of the best British wrestlers around. I'm the mistress of the DDT and I can hit it from anyone. So basically, when I read the bio, she was basically British, but she moved abroad very, very early. She's claiming to have so many variations of the DDT, so that's why her gimmick is the mistress of the DDT. And yeah, she's a veteran. I think she's 40, but she's someone we can certainly work with in the babyface side of things, and I get a 17. And Steph will be in action as well, I believe, straight off the bat. Yep, she takes on Maisie Laurels. Abysmal matchup, but she wins in 7:22 with the slingshot DDT. Storytelling match. 27 for the wrestling, 5 for the crowd, and a 22 overall. And of course, because I still get over, this was again deemed to be 2 pre-show workers. It's a work in progress, the women's division, but we'll get there. Next up and about, had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Cool defeated Grime and Punishment in 8 minutes and 8 when Philip Cooper pinned Edison Silver with the Cooper Fly Splash. 52 overall, so pretty decent mid-card kind of stuff. And you can see there, just in terms of overness, cool, look cool in Philip Cooper, just better in-ring performances. Next up we see War Machine in the gym with a mega workout, and it's his manager Cliff King who has a few words for Landon Mallory. You can see here I made a wee bit of a boo-boo, and it was Lance Martin instead of Landon Mallory that I selected. You see this man isn't just a man, he's a machine, a war machine. Landon Mallory, you may want the 21st Century Wrestling UK Championship, but no one on this earth will ever take it away from this war machine. So really him just really promoting his monster. And disappointingly though, he struggled without the script, despite it being pre-taped. There was multiple takes, and overall this segment was a 63. Next up, we had a decent reaction from the crowd about subpar wrestling. Michael X defeated Smiling John Smithy in 7-11 with the XDT. 45, 44, 48 for the segment stuff here. Just feel there's something with these two. I feel like we can maybe make something happen, but overall, good stuff. The match concludes and it's a good win for Michael X. He goes to shake Smiling John Smithy's hand, but he rejects it and he blows him off. Disappointing this only got a 20, which I kind of had a wee bit of confusion here to why it was saying, yeah, nothing really happened here, but I followed what Adam said you were kind of wanting to do in this situation. And yeah, it just seemed to flop effectively. So back to the drawing board with that, seeing what works. But this was just trying to do, because it wouldn't be like attacking victim, because well, just rejecting a handshake. So it's kind of like an appearance where they don't say anything, but like their actions and their body language, if that makes sense. But yeah, I get penalised. I was like, well, thankfully it's just in the mid card, but yeah, overall wasn't too happy with that. We'll see what's next. It was about had good heat and decent wrestling from the wrestlers on attendance here. Rolly Muckletruck defeated Gorilla Lee in 7:49 with a full Nelson. 55, 56 and 60 for this one. Basically again just getting some key momentum for Rolly Muckletruck as he heads forward. Next up was a promo. So far this year, I've been unable to capture something that was greatly important to me, and that's the 21st Century World Championship. To put it bluntly, it's driving me insane, and if someone is going to try and get in the way of that, of me getting that belt back, I'll roll right over them. So Lee Burton is putting out a warning. Where promos are placed is very sometimes obvious where that's going to go, but a 75. We can see what happens there. Our main event was about that had great heat and good wrestling. Wade Orson, the champ, defeated Doomsday, representing the House of Business, in 11:51 by submission. During the match, we had Edward Cannell come in. He got some cheap shots on Orson, but it wasn't enough to give Doomsday the win. I was a bit worried because of his lack of skill, but a 65-67 meant a 72 overall rating. So really, not horrible. But you can see here, yeah, both penalised for their physical conditioning is a wee bit of a worry at this stage, but it'll be interesting to see if that's going to be a more prominent thing with the way the bodies are. And again, we got the penalty here for the not much happening, but Orson picks up the win despite many attempts at trying to help Doomsday win. It's came to no avail, and Edward Cannell looks on from the top of the ramp as the champ continues to gain momentum heading in to head. So he's frustrated he couldn't get the one up on Wade Orson, and this segment ends with a 61. Disappointingly, as I say, both guys looking great, but yeah, that penalty popping up was a bit of a kick in the teeth, because I was hoping for another strong segment. But overall, I can't wait for these two to go at it, because I think it could be a pretty damn spectacular matchup between them. So I say, you set that one up, and I think we'll set another, obviously, Reese Pendragon and Tommy Cornell. So a lot of stuff starting here. You can see a few things being hinted at on the card as well. We did move storylines, but sadly none of them had dramatic stakes, so the crowd were a bit disappointed with that one. The show lost its pop in our 6 regions because we realistically need to get like a 76 or a 77, but we're still getting like our head around the C-verse, and I feel like slowly but surely we're understanding each character, and we're slowly understanding who we want to push going forward and what kind of stuff we can do with them. But yeah, it's better than it's been, but it's definitely certainly still a long way to go. But hopefully we will get there. But yeah, quite happy with that one. Good balance of, you know, the tag division. You can see obviously some up and comers getting some opportunities with promos and matches. It's just tricky. We're getting some good talents in, but obviously don't have any overness within the UK, so you feel like you're basically starting from afresh with them. So I'm pretty sure I end up just going through a few things with the post show, but I will say thank you very much for watching. It's very much appreciated. We'll jump to that. Financial report you'll see here is good, 127k profit, so that was good to see. But if you have enjoyed it, if you would like to give a wee thumbs up, it's deeply appreciated. Remember and check out the Fantasy Bookers subreddit, Grey Dog Software forums, and TEWDB.com. And yeah, we'll just see if there was anything back at the main screen. I'm trying to remember, because this was a wee while ago I did record this. I try and record a week in advance, just in case, you know, there's like wrestling pay-per-views at Wembley I need to go to in the last few days. Which, yeah, by the time this goes live I'd have been all in. But yeah, 0.97 TV rating, 732,000, and you can see there just a few guys suffering from the effects of the schedule. So we might need to give the likes of Rolly Muckletruck and Cornell a little day off, or just no in-ring action before they take on the pay-per-view. But I think a big reason for that is because of the house shows as well, so that might be something I need to monitor. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you for the next episode, which I'll need to do the same again. Bye bye.